businesses and organizations. In addition to his entrepreneurial pursuit, Eric is also the host of Going Forward, formerly the Adcast, a popular business podcast that provides valuable insights and advice for entrepreneurs and marketers. Eric's contribution to the community have been recognized by the City of Charleston, North Charleston, South Carolina, which has declared October 14th as Eric Elliott Day. Everyone, please give a round of applause to Eric.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning. You know what? I'm gonna go home today. I'm gonna tell my wife. When I walked up, I got a lot of applause. When I walk in the door, I want you to applaud for me too. When I get home, everybody do the same thing. So, first off, good morning and thank y'all. And I'm very proud of each and every one of you for being here. You're doing something. You know that? You're doing something. You're doing something to make yourself better. And I want to start out, I thank you for the introduction, but the one thing I always want to tell people, they say, who are you? First off, I'm my wife's husband, and I am the father to my children, and I love God. That's first and foremost. There's nothing that happens without that. But what I do is totally different. I have a marketing agency and I have a video production company, and I'm also lucky to work with some of the most talented people across the world. Who you guys are looking at today was an orphan at 6 years old. I watched my mother leave Saturday night, December 28th, 1986, walk out the door, and she never returned. April 23rd, the coming year, my father was killed and murdered by his wife. So I lived with my aunt, and I lived with my grandmother, and we were raised in downtown Charleston. Y'all been to Charleston before? Raise your hand if you love Charleston. I mean, you can love Columbia too, but you got to just give Charleston some love now. So that's where I was born and that's where I was raised. I'm from that era where they taught you to say yes ma'am, no ma'am. You don't curse around your mother. You don't do any of those things. And they put in my head, man doesn't carry you further than money ever will. Y'all ever heard that before? Well, I still do it. Even if you're 25 and I call you ma'am, don't be offended, okay? All right? I was just raised that way. So I came up and I started that way, and I feel like I got to tell you this story before I kind of get into who I am, because before, when you guys get into it, you're going to hear from a lot of smart people that have done a lot of amazing things, but I want you guys to know the most amazing thing that you have, and no tool that I can give you, is you. You believe that? See, some of y'all are looking at me like, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? I'm here to get some tools and techniques. You're going to get all that, but I want to tell you the first thing you have to do is believe in yourself first and foremost. Because coming up, it wasn't easy for me. It wasn't easy for me, and trust me, I did not make it easy on my aunt who raised me up. I came home late. I stayed out. I got in trouble. All of those things. But then there was at one point, it was like, all I have is her. She's all I have. And to this day, I still take care of her. She's like a mother to me, right? So you're looking at a guy who was an orphan, lived on the projects, had nothing. I had 4 sisters and my brother. One of my sisters, she passed away. But just coming up, this was my story. And I had to say, at some point, what do I want my legacy to be like for my children, right? I have to be that buck stops here person to say, where I came from is not what I'm going to leave them, right? And so when I started my career, I used to work for this company called Ruby Tuesday. And I used to travel all over the country opening stores. I opened 19 restaurants. And I learned something in working in these restaurants. I learned how to talk to people. I learned that you could take the same plate of food to 2 different tables and get 2 different reactions, right? So what did it teach me? It taught me people more than anything. I saw how one person, I can give them the same plate of food. They could be happy, the other one could be sad. And I said, you know what? I can't control what goes on in their life. So I had to learn how to navigate and talk to people, is what it taught me. So I worked in that industry from after getting out of high school until I was 21 years old. So I travel, you think about this 19-year-old kid traveling from Virginia, Florida, all these different places, staying in hotels. And all I did was I just talked to people and I just teach them how to do what I was doing in the restaurant. And then it started one day when I was running another restaurant group, and I hired this radio group to come in because our sales had just started going down. And the GM of the radio group, she said to me, she said, "You want to come work for us?" And I said, "Yeah." You know, I was working 60 hours a week inside the restaurant, so I wasn't scared of hard work, not at all. So I started doing it. Started working in there, and then I got a call from a TV station. The TV station said, "Hey, we heard about you. We want you to come work for us." So I went to go work for the TV station. If you're in Colombia, it's, you know, you guys heard of WIS. It's a sister station to WIS. So I worked for this TV station for a few years, and I broke some new business goals. I closed more new business in the history of that TV station ever. The same little boy from downtown Charleston who didn't have any parents, didn't go to college. This same one. The same one y'all are looking at, right? So now, at some point, I remember it was September 21st. You got to remember, you always remember where you are when big things happen in your head, right? September 21st, I remember they walked into the sales pit. They said, we made our goal for the year. Not one person called a client and said thank you, because the station had made their goals for the year. They made their number. I left. And when I left, I had nothing. Because they came after me, they didn't want me to be in business, and then, you know, I won. I was able to work. And I started our company. I started our company from nothing. It was in the phone book inside of a 300 square foot. I heard you talk about a 300 square foot place. I know all about that. When you were saying it, I got cold because I started thinking. So we were in a 300 square foot little building. I couldn't control the thermostat. In the summer, you got to bring a big jacket because it's going to be cold, and the people who own the building don't want you touching the thermostat at all. Those of you who pay the light bill, you know what I'm talking about. That was supposed to be for a laugh. But those of you who pay the light bill, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So what we did was I just pulled out the phone book, started writing on the dry erase board, and started going after people and just saying, I know how to do this. I couldn't really explain what I could do, but I just knew that I had a knowledge that I wanted to be able to share with them. I had some understanding of media and marketing, all these things, and I can grow businesses and talk to people. People gave me a shot, little before you know it. And then in 2011, the mayor of the third largest city in the state of South Carolina said, "Hey, can you help me with my campaign? Can you help me with my campaign?" Now, think about it now. It's the same boy, downtown Charleston, from the projects. A mayor's coming to me asking me to help them with their campaign. So I do it. He wins. He wins again. He wins again. And as he grew, we grew. So now we have this whole team of people. You might see some of these amazing people here. You got Paul, and then you got Peter floating around. And I got to give them their love, because without any of the great people behind you, you're nothing. So just remember that. So y'all give them a round of applause for me. So without those great people behind you, you are truly nothing without your staff. I don't care how great of a leader you are or how much money you're bringing in. If they leave you, you're done. Am I wrong? How many of you have people that work with you and for you? What happens if they leave you? You got to do it all. I had my days of that. Life wasn't good. Life wasn't good at all. So as we grew this company, we started thinking, like, you know, how can I start, you know, helping people with their marketing? We grew and we grew and we grew. And I said, all right, let's get a video production side of it. But we didn't have a ton of money then. So what I did was I went to the Home Shopping Network and I bought a camera. And I paid like probably $80 a month on that camera until I paid it off. That was the most expensive camera we ever bought, Paul. So we paid that camera off, and what we said was, we're going to actually start a video production side to our business. And we started doing that, and we started saying, like, you know, we're going to be different. We're not going to be a guy with a camera, lights, and a microphone. We're going to be different. We're going to write stories for people. We're going to make sure when they see our videos, they feel it, or they laugh at it, or they understand it. Like in this market, you've probably seen something we've done for like this one lawyer, largest in the state of South Carolina, called George Sink. You guys have heard of it? Right? And so when they came to us, they said, hey, we bought this funny phone number. We don't know what to do with it. And we showed them what to do with it.
ended up being one of the largest law firms in the state of South Carolina. And we were like, you know what? We get pretty good at this. So this same guy, he starts taking me to different places. Takes me to Key West, Florida, right? And I'm around all these other lawyers, big lawyers. And they're like, hey, can you work with us too? And then there it starts. There it begins. People from Miami, Boston, California, all over the country. Remember that little boy from downtown Charleston? Right? Remember him? So we start doing business with these firms all across the country. And it hadn't stopped yet. And so now we're at a point where we can actually demand what we want to be paid.
And who do we want to work with? If it's not enough, we're not coming. If you're not willing to follow our process and our procedures, we can't work with you. So I want to talk to you guys today. I had to tell you guys a little bit of a story about me. And now that hopefully I got a couple tears out here somewhere. Okay. So now I tell you a little bit about me and a little bit about what we do. I want to talk about some things that you can do to be able to implement in your business. You guys want to hear that? I mean, that's what y'all here for, or y'all just here to see me, or you just heard I was coming. You're like, I'm going because he's there. Is that what it is? Okay, so let's talk about some tools. Now, I see a lot of you guys pull out some pens and papers and you're ready to write. I don't want you to write what I say. I want you to write what you're going to do. You with me? All right, so say I promise. I'm going to write what I'm going to do. Okay, the first tool that you're going to need. You ready for this? It's you. That's going to be the first thing. There's tons of software and things like that I'm going to tell you guys about and how to use those, but the first tool that you will need will be yourself. Remember I told you how if you didn't have your staff or your team pushing you, you got nothing? What good is having a business if you aren't up to run it? What good is having a business if you're sick? What good is having a business if you're not in your right state of mind? Right? So the first tool that I'm going to say is you. You need to do a deep dive on you. Sounds hard to do. How many of you guys have ever written your own bio? Start out and dig into yourself, knowing exactly who you are. Because then when you start doing that, you know what you've done? You've created a standard for what you will accept and what you will not accept. That's the first thing, you. We can talk about the tools and then I'll open it up. We can start asking questions and all that stuff. But the first thing is you. You're going to need that. You're going to need to understand you, who you like to work with, who you don't like to work with. And one of the hardest things when you start out in business is, how much do I charge? Whoever had that before? How much do I charge? I don't want to be too much because I'll scare them away, and I don't want to be too cheap to make them think I ain't worth it. How can you ever charge if you don't know nothing about yourself? Do you feel like you bring value in your business? Yes or no? Yes. Are you charging for it? Yes or no? Be honest. Yes. You are? Could you charge more? All right, we're going to try to make y'all charge a little more. How about that? So now we talked about the first tool that you're going to have is you. You're going to have a set of core values about yourself. If you don't have core values within your company, you need to create them when you leave here today. And those core values need to be centered around who you are and what you would like others to be like that work with you and you do business with. Why? Based on you? Because you are the one thing within your company that will not change. You will have people come and you will have people go. But the thing that will not change will be you. How many of you have a set of core values that you've really dug into? Not some words you've pulled up on YouTube or the internet. Who truly has some core values for themselves? If you don't, I want you to do an exercise today. When you get back, write yourself a set of core values. It could be 2, it could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 6, but it needs to be real and it needs to be authentic. There is no branding without authenticity. There is none. So set yourself a set of core values and build around that. And those core values will be what you will do within your company and what you will not do within your company. One of the things that we say is we won't lie, we won't cheat, we won't steal. We're going to tell you the truth up front. If I can help you, I can help you. If I can't, I can't. Am I wrong, Paul? So that's one of the first things that I would tell you is looking at yourself. Now let's talk about some of the tools. One of the tools that I think is going to be very important for any business owner is something called a CRM. You guys know what that is? Cool. So there's many cool CRMs, and I'll tell you the one that we use and why we use it and how committed we are to it. So we got our core values set. Now it's like, okay, we know who we are. We know what we want to do. We know what kind of business we want to be. Let's get some tools. So we have a CRM. We use one called HubSpot. You guys might want to write that down. And for those of you that don't have it, it's a free tool until you start adding on a whole bunch of stuff to it. Okay? So you're going to need that CRM, that customer relationship management system. You're going to need that to be able to stay in contact with people, to be able to market yourselves as well. Because all these tools are going to be in here, because I think every one of you probably have a Facebook or an Instagram page or a TikTok. Everyone, like when you go into business, that's probably the first thing you created. Am I wrong? See, years ago when people created a business, the first thing they did, the first place they advertised in was the newspaper. Who's got a newspaper ad today? Boy, look at all those hands. Right? But how many of you have Facebook and Instagram pages? Good, so all of you can follow me after this. So you have these Facebook pages, you have these Instagram pages as well. You can connect all of these things into your CRM, okay? So now what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start showing you how all of it can just kind of come together and start helping you with your branding as well. Remember we said you got to have a set of core values for yourself first to know exactly who you are. Then there's a difference between branding and marketing. Do you know that? If I am paying money to run an ad, I'm advertising. If your perception of me is, oh, he's a nice guy, then that's part of my brand. The brand is how you all perceive someone or something. So there's no tool that you can buy that's just going to make you the #1 brander, besides the first tool I gave you, right? What if you had all the money in the world to run a Facebook ad, but you had some really messed up core values and you just weren't a good person to do business with? Couldn't work, could it? Right? So the #1 branding tool is what? Let's all say it together. Myself. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You are the #1 branding tool. So we talked about this CRM called HubSpot and the things that you can be able to do. It's a customer relationship management system. All of your social media, you can actually set your social media through this, run your social media through it as well. You can actually stage it, set up your own content calendars. You are able to send your email so that you have a trail. So when people are doing business with you, they're like, man, these people are on it. Set up your own task within this system as well. You can collect your payments within this system. You can invoice them within this system. You will live within this system. If you write blogs, we got any bloggers out there? If you're not blogging, you should be. If you're blogging, you can blog through this system. So anything that you're doing marketing related, even running ads on Facebook or running ads on Google, LinkedIn, you can do all within this portal. And it's absolutely free to you. Okay? So that's one tool. So now the next tool is going to be like, okay, I know about myself. I have HubSpot. Now, what's the identity of your company? How many of you out there truly know the identity of your company? And if you don't, it's okay, because some of the big brands, they have no idea. We had a law firm call us the other day, and I said, who are you? He says, I'm this kind of firm. Well, you're just like everybody else. What makes you different? What is your USP? You know what a USP is? I heard it over there. So you guys need to develop, as you're doing your core values, you need to develop your unique selling position. What makes you different? If you are in business and you are in business and you guys are in the same field, why should I choose you over her? Or why should I choose you over her? That is developing your USP on what you bring to the table. And a lot of times it's inward. Well, we do things a little differently. Well, how different do you do it? You can't say, oh, we use the latest tools, because every agency, every company can actually buy the same tools. I got an uncle who's a carpenter. I can't knock a hammer the way he can. That's his tool. That's his stroke of genius. So now we talked about HubSpot, right? Talked about HubSpot. There's tools to be able to help you get your branding and identity. There's one called Frontify. Remember I said, don't write down what I say, write down what you're going to do. So within Frontify, what that is, it's helping you keep a locker for your brands together, okay? So if you are in business right now and you have a logo, does your logo have a meaning? Do you understand why the colors were selected? Do you understand the font? Do you understand the identity behind your business? Do you understand what keeps you going? Do you understand your unique selling position? That's what keeps you in business and differentiates you from everyone else. Do you see where we're going when we talk about brand? So branding, just advertising, it ain't just marketing and paying money for ads. It's how people perceive you. So if you want people to see or perceive you in a certain way, you got to walk a certain way. You got to walk a certain way. Your business has got to walk a certain way, and you got to walk a certain way. So now we've got HubSpot. We've got Frontify. Of course, we're going to say Facebook, and we're going to say Instagram. Those things, I'm not even going to talk to you about like what happens with those. And also, a lot of you guys probably have YouTube channels. Who's got a YouTube channel? If you don't, start one. One thing I know about, there's two things I know about entrepreneurs. It's very lonely when you're an entrepreneur. It's a lonely place. There's very few people you can talk to or talk about. Sometimes if you talk to someone and you share your success, they don't want to hear it because they might not want to have they don't have the same success, right? But yeah, I heard you earlier say about getting a group, and I think that's just one of the smartest things you can do. Just finding a community of people that you can actually talk to and working it out as an entrepreneur. So start a YouTube channel. So like I said, it's lonely being an entrepreneur, but also we have a lot of things within our heads, okay? So those things that are within your head, that is your area of genius. That's why you started the business, because you're good at it. You're good at something. Why aren't you doing 50 seconds of sharing how good you are at something or something that you've done, or sharing a success story in your business? How many of you got a success story in your business that you can tell? You've done something good. Are you talking about it? If you do something, you got to say something about it. You got to let people know about it. So I would definitely tell you guys, have a YouTube channel and share your expertise, okay? Share your expertise, make content. And even if you make a few pieces of content to yourself, and before you release that content, you know, just look at it. Look at it and go to your circle of friends and say, you know, this is what I want to put out. Let your friends see it and let them tell you exactly, like, you know, hey, based on what you told me about your core values and what kind of company you are and your USP, this doesn't align. You see how important that is now, going back to the beginning, right? So definitely a YouTube channel. And this next one I'm going to give you is something that changed our entire company. This changed our entire company. It's called Trainual. So we were in Austin, Texas, and I ran into the CEO. His name's Chris Ronzio, and I was talking to him, and I said, "Yeah, man, we don't want this stuff." And he said, "Just give us a shot." I went up to the hotel room. I came down, and I was like, "Okay, Chris, we're on it." How many of you? I want you to be honest now. Be honest. How many of you have processes for your company? How many of you have them written down? How many of you have a training course for your company if you hire a new company, and you hire a new employee? So it sounds like this room, we got a lot of work to do, right? So when I said Trainual, what I want you to do with that is not just talk about, oh, I want to get Trainual. I want you to write down what you're going to do with it. Trainual changed our company for the better. By this time, we were already 13 years old, and I think it was 13 years old at the time, and we were like, okay, we need to do something about this. And it changed everything about how we run. If we hired someone new in Indiana, we already have the playbook written on how they should work and how they need to train with us because we have it all written out. As entrepreneurs, we keep a lot of these things within our heads because we're like, why is this person not working out? They should get it. I work hard, they should work hard, but they don't know it. They don't know it because we keep everything in our head and we don't, you can't blame us because it's what we've done for so long. It's what we've done for so long. We feel like we just have to keep everything in our head because we know it all. But here's something I'm going to tell you. If you know how to do everything, then you have devalued your company. If you are the only one that knows how to do everything. You have immediately devalued your company if you are the only one that can touch everything. Does this make sense? You want me to tell you more? Okay, so I'll tell you. Let's say if my business is open and I go on vacation and I'm the only one that knows how to do something. That person who wants to do business with us, they got to wait until I get back. What do you think they're going to do when I get back? They're going to find someone else. They're going to throw me to the left like Beyonce. They're going to find someone else. So what good is it if I'm the only one who knows how to set up a proposal, if I'm the only one who knows to set up an invoice or do the things that need to do to function in our company? This is where Trainual comes in. I promise you I don't get paid anything for this, but what I will tell you is this will be one of the best moves that you ever make while you are in business. When you start it, I want you to get everything out of your head. You can record your videos to say, hey, welcome to your first day at my company. Here's what I expect from you. So now people know their roles and their expectations and what's expected of them. The old saying is what? You got to inspect what you expect. So how do people know what to do if you don't tell them and you don't teach them on what to do? This is where this comes in. You're laying out the groundwork for your company. You as an entrepreneur, you're getting all these things out of your head. You're teaching people how to onboard, how you meet. We show up 5 minutes early for the meeting. You keep your camera on and we have to make sure we have good audio, those kind of things. Everyone has to have the same static background. You see where I'm going? How am I going to walk up to your business and ask you to take on $1 million in business if you don't have your stuff together? Right? So all of this stuff that I was talking about today, it starts with you. None of it costs money. You. I'm going to open it up for some questions if we want to take some questions. But one thing I will tell you guys to do, and you got to promise me you're going to do this. If you don't do it, I'm going to ask Miss Shauna for all of your names, and then I'm going to throw eggs at your car or something. I want you to, when you wake up tomorrow morning, I want you to go look in the mirror, and I want you to say, I deserve everything good that's coming my way. I want you to give yourself some self-affirmation and say, I'm proud of you for what you've done. I want you to say, I'm proud of where I've come from. And I want you to never, ever settle for anything, because anything that settles goes to the bottom. And this don't look like a room of people who want to be on the bottom of anything. So don't settle. You promise? I'm going to find out, because I'm going to get a list of everyone in here. Okay? So is that okay if we do some Q&A real quick? Is that okay? All right, let's open up. Miss Shauna, I'm good with that if you're good.
Good afternoon or good morning. So I have two quick questions.
Sure.
First, confirming Trainual, Trainual.
Correct.
Okay. And my second question is, how do you motivate yourself, or how can we motivate ourselves as entrepreneurs when we're facing no's constantly?
Good question. Let me ask you this. Are you a mom? Are you a mom? A mother?
No.
Wife?
Past life.
Got responsibilities?
Yes.
That's enough to motivate me. You know, honestly, like I think that's a great question, because it's like, you know, how do you keep that fire burning? And it's like, then you have to figure out exactly why are you in it? if you're in business just to say, I want to make a lot of money, you'll fail. Because if you do the right thing, the money's going to come. That's just the truth. So how do I stay motivated is I have a 10-month-old who went through cancer treatment. And thank God he's healthy right now. And don't tell anybody, but he's my favorite child. So for me, when I look at them, I just know like he's at that age when my mother left me and I have memories. I have those memories and I know going forward that everything I do today sets them up for tomorrow. That is my motivation. They are my why. It's not how many things I can give them, it's how I want to leave them. Anyone else?
Yes.
I'm coming to you.
I always like to ask people, since I'm an avid reader, what are you currently reading right now?
Oh man, I just finished a book called Fireproof from a guy by the name of Mike Morse. And also one of the best books that I've read this year is Be Useful from Arnold Schwarzenegger. And you know, I was like, and everyone knows like he was a Republican governor in California, and politics aside, I was blown away when I read his book. And he talked about his journey on how when he was born in Austria, he was in the military, never knew this, but like even when he came out to California and he started like lifting weights and buying real estate, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a millionaire before we ever saw him in the box office at all. And, you know, one of the things I learned in the book was how he persevered and how he took risk in his career. And he talked about these different tools, these 7 steps on how he's saying to make yourself useful, you know, like putting yourself out there, actually involving yourself within your community. And I'll ask you guys this trick question that I learned from him in this book. What do you think is the biggest Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? It was Twins with Danny DeVito. And I never knew something like that until I read the book, but I was really inspired by how him and Danny DeVito had the idea. The studios didn't want to do it. They approached Ivan Reitman, and Ivan Reitman like stood behind them, and they said, you know what, we will put up our own money for this movie. And it was his top grossing movie ever, and also the movie that earned him the most revenue. So as far as like the books that I read, I love to read something that's going to stretch my thinking. And also the recent one that I had the entire team read was is Habits. Which ones? Atomic Habits. Look at that. It was Atomic Habits, and that book really captivated me from the first chapter. But I loved how he talked about, you know, he created like these habits, and in our company we call them rhythms. So we tell everyone kind of get your own rhythm for the day. So like if you go to lunch every day at noon, that needs to be your rhythm. If you're going to do a certain thing, just get a rhythm. Work the day so the day doesn't work you. So those are some of the good books that I've read. The Arnold Schwarzenegger one was a game changer though. Mm-hmm. I promise you, yeah.
I've worked in Charleston as well in media sales. When were you there? What period of time
Yeah.
were you working at?
I started in 2003 at Citadel Broadcasting before it was turned into Cumulus, and then I went to work for Live 5 News. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Eric. I had a question about when you were working in Charleston in broadcasting. Were you working at 100% commission, or were you on the base plus commission?
I was 100% commission.
Okay.
That was scary too.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you this specifically because the folks that are working with my company, I do them all on commission sales, and I do a 70-30 split.
Got it.
What kept you motivated, and what advice could you give me to have optics on good salespeople that understand our mission and are driven on the mission and profit?
Great question. I think one of the best things in how to have salespeople is you may have a mission. A lot of times with entrepreneurs and small businesses, we may have the mission within our minds, but you got to get it out and create it and turn it into a KPI. And a KPI, if you guys know this, y'all are better than me at this. Come on now. A KPI is a key performance indicator. So like, for example, when you have that salesperson, you want to be able to say, I need you to make this many calls, or this is the expected revenue. You know what I mean? So you're setting these goals for them to be able to reach. You want to definitely make sure it's something that's going to be attainable. But as far as being a commission person, one of the beauties of being a commission person, it was scary for me because when I came from restaurants, it was all salary. I knew what it was going to be, but then every single person on our team has the ability to earn commission. Even though they're salary people, they can earn commission if they wanted to. So what I did was I just told them, like, you know, hey, you have the ability to change your own check. You get paid off of your own efforts. As long as you make a fair commission structure for them and it's an obtainable goal, and if they're hungry and they're motivated, go right after it, you know? Now that you said that, I want to give you a tool, another tool that you guys can use. What's the one that we use for the hiring? Yep, SurveyMonkey, not SurveyMonkey. I'll write it. Gorilla Test. It's called Gorilla Test. So whenever we hire anyone, right, we have a certain set of standards that we put in here. And then what it can do is, if you have a salesperson and you put in the position that they're being hired for, it will actually tell you in the end, like, you know, this person doesn't score as high. I wouldn't take a chance on them. So you would know before you hire them. I would tell anyone, be slow to hire, quick to fire.
Cut bait when you can. Anyone else? Ladies first.
Ladies first, thank you. First, thank you so much for sharing with us your story, and beautiful that your son is in remission.
Thank you.
God bless you. You mentioned putting yourself out there, so I have a two-part question. I start working with a production company to do video, and because everybody's talking video, you gotta be video, not one of those scary people.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to do more of a commercial-like video, but at some point got convinced to do more like this podcast. And so we're in the middle of doing all these podcasts. So my first part question is, one, do you have any strategy suggestions on how, besides just social media and paid platforms, to get creative for video? And my second question is, do you believe, having the level of experience that you have with video production, is that any publicity is good publicity? Any video is good video?
Good question. When I first started doing it, I started doing these things called marketing minutes, and I was scared out of my mind to do it. And I'll tell you why. When I used to sell broadcast TV, I was the only black person in Charleston selling broadcast TV. All of the TV stations, Channel 2, Channel 4, Fox, and even 5, they had no African American males out there selling television. And so I knew that was my ability to be different. That was my time to be different. What I would tell you when you're actually starting to go out, I don't think every video is a great video, but I think you have to know first and foremost who you are before you create that video, because people can smell when you're unauthentic. Everyone's trying to get everyone's attention now and being able to sell something. I think the first thing before you turn that camera on is know exactly who you are. And I've done thousands of videos, but I never script
Myself at all. I always want to just be able to be authentic. I know what I want to talk about, and then I go right at it and I do it. In the beginning, if you look back on your past work, you could say, you know what, I could have done better. And you'll do the same when you create a video now. You'll go back, you'll do a video today, and you'll look at it 6 months now and say, I could have done better. But it's growth, and growth hurts. Yes, sir.
Yeah. The question that I had concerns the coming changes in marketing strategy, how quickly the market changes, and how the influence of AI on the current market and our.
Well, the genie's out the bottle and it ain't going anywhere. It ain't going anywhere. It's like, you know, you can try your best to swim against the current, but you'll get tired. So I think the best thing to do is to be able to get on it, learn and understand it, so that it's not something that you are forced to learn down the road, but it's something that you've adapted and you've grown with it. And as far as how marketing is changing, I think what's happening and what's changing is the influence that marketing is having on people is changing the mindset of people. Because a TV spot's still a TV spot, and a radio spot is still a radio spot. But what it is the influence and the mindset on what it's having and how people are making decisions now. How they're making decisions, how they actually utilize their time, all of that has changed. So, you know, for example, the word binge. You heard binge 15 years ago, you thought someone needed to go to the hospital or they needed some help. Now, I mean, we binge on a Saturday, we'll watch a whole season of a TV show. So now binge has turned into a good thing. You know, so the habits, like I'm telling you now, it's like the habits have changed. Because we were forced, when cable came out or when we were watching television, we were forced to wait until next week. But now, you give me all 5 seasons and I got a good Saturday and some boiled peanuts, I'm going in. You know, and that's just the truth. You know, so what's happened is now the mindset has changed, but we've also become impatient people. So someone can pull out a phone right now and show you a video and just say, yeah, wait, look. You want to tap the screen to see how much longer it is. You look at the microwave now because you got popcorn and you say, I don't have all minute. Right? Our mindset has changed. We want things faster. We're used to it being faster now. And what I would tell you is it's not going to change. The genie's out of the bottle. The best thing that we can do is swim with the current and adapt.
Okay, so to follow up just on that change, it gives us, as business owners, the power to influence our consumer market. Give us some tips, give us some advice on how we should change our mindset to match the direction of the marketing.
Yeah. No, that's a great way to put it. I think the first thing is you got to do is you got to welcome the tool. Don't fight it. Welcome it. And then you got to think, how can I use this tool to benefit me in my business, right? One of the things I would tell you is find a competitor. Every business has a competitor unless you're making something. You're the only one in the world making something. So you look at your website and you look at your competitor's website and you tell that either if you're using Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever it is, and you say, look, here's my website. Here's my competitor's website. Here's what I do. How do I rank better than they do in Columbia, South Carolina? And watch what it tells you. So if any of you have, who's got your cell phone right now? You got your cell phone? Who's got ChatGPT on their phone? Can somebody do that for me? I want you to find your competitor right now. Put up your website. Say, hey, ChatGPT, this is my website URL. This is what I do. Here's my competitor's URL. How do I rank higher than they do in Columbia, South Carolina? And see what it tells you. And then you can thank me later. So there's a lot of different ways that you can be able to utilize those tools to be able to work for you, not against you. Who's done it? Who did it already? Cool. Any other questions?
I do. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I have 2 questions.
Bring it.
The first question is, when having a mission statement, what are some key components to have in the mission statement? The second part, should your USP correspond to the mission statement?
Okay. So I'm going to ask you this question. Who told you you need a mission statement? Just a question.
I have a prior business coach.
So the biggest thing is having your USP, right? That's identifying exactly who you are and who you are not, and what you do, and what separates you from everyone else. That USP should be my attraction to you to say, I want to do business with her because she does this, and she's this. Now, the mission statement, you know, a lot of times you walk into a building and they'll say, this is our mission statement. Half of the people can't tell you what it is. Why don't you write a purpose statement and say, what's your purpose?
Would the purpose correspond to your slogan for the company, or it will be different?
Well, see, now your slogan, that's your marketing. They want to remember you this because you got the best hot wings in Columbia, whatever it is, right? But your purpose is your why. Write out your why and let it come from your heart. So I would say a purpose statement, not a mission statement. A mission statement is usually something that people are like, I'm not against it, I've seen it, you know, but half of the time people just do it because they think it's one of the standard order of business things that they have to do. I don't have a problem with people creating them, but if your mission doesn't have a purpose, what good is your mission? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I just wanted to know how you went from selling for TV and then starting in marketing. Like, I know you said you talked to the mayor, but like, how did you even start that?
Well, when I was in television sales, what I did was I sold ads. So I would sell 30-second, 15-second ads to different, you know, businesses. It could be car dealers, you know, all around. And so when I went on to transition for myself, what I was doing was I was becoming an agent where, hey, guess what? Who better to buy your media, Mr. Business Owner, than somebody that sold media, Mr. Business Owner? So I had that understanding of, guess what? I see you on television all the time. What I can do is I can help you buy that more efficiently. I need you working on your business. Let me deal with your ads. And so that's how I kind of opened the door into it until television started to change a lot. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
At your level of success, do you have a coach and a mentor? And is that a part, if you do, is that a part of your self-improvement budget? And what does that look like?
You had me at hello. So if I could help you with something, get rid of the word success, because success is how everyone else sees you to be and you think you got to live up to it. Look for significance. Go to a point where they need you. You know what I mean? I don't want to be successful. I want to be significant. Y'all would say, okay, yeah, he's successful. I'll let you say that. I want to be significant. I want you to need me. And to the answer, yes, I do. I learn from our team. I coach them and sometimes they coach me. You have to, the best leaders listen, is what I would say. The best leaders will listen. And there are other people out there where they're selling a course online. I would tell you, be very wary of that, because what happens is we're so hungry and we're thirsty for information that we find one person on YouTube, this person on Facebook, this person on TikTok. We put all that stuff in our heads and we have no idea who we are anymore. We've lost our individuality because we're trying to become them. And what they did was they sold us on, you buy my course, or this is a free course, you get into a funnel and so on and so forth. I think the best thing before you actually approach a coach, it's almost like when you go to a therapist, they're going to ask you questions about you. So going back to the first thing I said in the beginning, the most important thing in branding is going to be you. Before you accept a coach, I want you to know yourself. It's almost like being in love. You can't love somebody until you love you. So know you. Is that fair? Significance, right? No success. Success is cool, let them say it. But you want to be significant. Is that it? Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I admittedly suffer from what I call analysis paralysis.
Oh, I know exactly what that is.
I am so consumed with, okay, I don't want to put out a bad product. I don't want my website to look raggedy. I don't want,
Mm-hmm.
It's like I want to make sure that people understand that I'm putting out, good quality, whatever. So I guess my question is, how do you know when what you have is enough to be lucrative and competitive without spending so much time getting pulled in all, okay, I can do AI, I need to incorporate this, I need to incorporate that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of figure out what's enough?
You mean enough like in revenue, or?
No, how do you know what's enough to actually get started? Like my business, I'm new in my business. I'm not new in the field,
right,
but I'm new in my business. And so I want to make sure, even today, I heard Mr. Jeremy has a health and wellness business.
Mm-hmm.
So mine is similar to that.
Got it.
Providing care for seniors, home health, that kind of thing. But my background is occupational therapy and exercise science. So that being said, I know the expertise side of it, but how do I present it to make sure that I'm competitive and lucrative without spending so much time, with all the tools.
Got it. So one thing I would tell you and any business owners, we have to remember that we too are consumers. So you have to think like, you know what, yes, you're worried about, you know, how do I put this product out? I want it perfect when it goes out. Is remember that you too are a consumer and that you like and accept things a certain way as well. So you need to start looking at your own company and saying that to yourself, like, you know what, is this something that I can sell myself? But also what I would do is one of the smartest things I heard today was being able to find that community where you're actually having people that are looking into your business or looking into your product or how you present that product. But I think the biggest thing whenever you present your product and your service is the value that you provide. And that value is what you give or the burden you lift for other people by providing your product or service. That is one of the biggest things you need to look into. Cool? I want to thank y'all so much. I appreciate you guys, man. Y'all show some love to my family back in Charleston. I thank y'all so much. I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.